The Buzz with Jess Lujan.
And we're back in the main studio. Guest Senator Dennis Rodriguez Jr. We're talking, of course, some healthcare here. So please continue.
So the plan that we have, which was to expand healthcare to about 15 to 16,000 of our people, is something I've been taking around to the community and getting them to understand what it is and provide additional feedback. And so real soon this month, I intend to introduce legislation to move it forward. It would reform our MIP program as well as our Medicaid program. And it would expand the eligibility to about 200% of the federal poverty level. And so more of our people will be able to access health care. And it's very important, Senator, because you know when a family, when their son or daughter or themselves have a common cold or a cough, a lot of times people that don't have insurance wait it out and hope and pray that nothing worse happens to them.
Now, real quick, because I want to talk about another bill you introduced, but real quick, when you're talking about the federal government component and trying to get the federal government to also help offset some of the costs here, and now would this be tapping into maybe some of the Obamacare that we opted out of?
Yes, it will be tapping into our Medicaid funds because this is reforming the Medicaid program. And so what has been allotted to Guam, over 200 million, we still have a significant amount of that available to us. It'll be tapping that, and then moving forward, if that pilot does work, then it will be using the existing Medicaid allotments that are provided to Guam.
Now, one more thing before I go into 31. Are you working, you know, any way, shape, or form with the Trump administration? I mean, I know that the revise or the I guess Obamacare and the Trump care that is hopefully maybe to come about, that maybe we may not opt out, and if there's something that's good for Guam that we can opt into that, should it ever happen?
We're watching it. You know, we're not in direct communication. We've talked to Health and Human Services last year, Region 9, and our counterparts in the federal government, but we're watching how this whole national health agenda rolls out. And, but a lot of the components we have does not take those into consideration. We want to use what we have available to us so that we're not dependent on anything else.
Bill 31.
Yes, I have a bill 31, which, if you know, Senator, we have this one-stop center, permitting center. It's housed over at DPW. This was done through executive order many years ago. And it has kind of diluted, you know, because not really a one-stop center anymore.
One stop and plenty headache.
That's right. And so, you know, I've listened to mom and pop operators. I listened to big operators that come in and have the same complaint, is that we're not business friendly on island, you know, and so the way the objective of this bill is to kind of reform how that's operated, put specific timelines and guidance in place, and also calls for the review of all the existing regulations that we have, because some of these regulations don't make sense anymore. So if it doesn't make sense, we gotta get rid of it, revise it if we have to. But at the end of the day, it's ensuring the safety of the public.
You're sounding like Trump.
But it's the right thing to do. It's the right thing to do. And so we're getting GITA involved, because GITA is really the economic driver, supposed to be the economic driver of our island, of our government. And so we're getting them involved to oversee this this one-stop center. But and we also set up a timeline of a 3-day period where they must adjudicate these applications, whether it's approved or not. If not, it's automatic review.
You'll know in 3 days whether it's approved or not.
That's right.
You don't have
and
to
so there's a public hearing coming up later this week.
The
Committee on Economic Development is hearing it. And so look forward to the community's input, but it's really to be able to assist our community. A lot of younger people now are opening up food trucks, opening up businesses, and they're going through a lot of pain in getting it done.
It makes a big difference as well. I mean, when you're you know, some of the things, of course, when people want to, and not only outside companies that want to come in to Guam and do business, you know, they look at the atmosphere. Is it business friendly? Where are we at? And you know, and also the folks that are here that wanting to get into their entrepreneurs, right? It's like, man, sometimes even just the permitting process is I don't even want to go through there. That you know, again, just turns people off. But yeah, we hope the one stop really turns into one stop, and you know, with less migraines over that. So you said you have a public hearing later on.
Public hearing.
Who are the sponsors or co-sponsors?
I have Senator San Augustine as a co-sponsor. Senator Lee's committee will be hearing this. I believe it's Thursday or Friday this week.
Okay.
But we'll make sure we get as much input as we could and strengthen the bill, because I know in speaking with some of the people from the government side, of course, they're kind of having a heartache with it. But it's something that discussions need to be had. Because for far too long we've been a government that doesn't really respond to the needs of our people.
But remember, it's the government for the people, by the people.
That's right.
Right?
That's right. That's right.
No, and I'm glad that that's going to happen. I mean, you know, something needs to be done again with that, because that was the intent of the One Stop as well, is to be very business friendly and one place to go. I mean, and in totality, and maybe your situation is unique, that you have to, you know, really go around.
Sure.
But if you've got all your ducks in order, pretty much, you know, cross your T's and dotted your I's, it should be very, very simple, just to go one place and get all that done. And so hopefully that's been revised. Do you know exactly when that's going to be publicly heard? Because it's not your committee, right?
It's not my committee, but I know it's sometime this week.
Oh, okay.
We'll have that here.
And we'll definitely let the folks know. You know, your name has been touted for higher office, and as it should, you know, as you should, that your name is going around there. Any do you want to solidify anything now, or you just want to be smiling about it?
well, you know, Senator, the truth is, and I've said this, that I do have aspirations, you know, for higher office, but you know, it's not in my time. You know, it's not in my time. It's all in God's time. You know, whatever He plans. Right now, I know that a lot of people have told me I should make a decision right now on whether I run for lieutenant governor or governor. But the people elected me for another 2 years, right? We have a year and how many months more to go? And I want to focus on that, because running for higher office takes a lot of energy, a lot of resources, and time away from doing your work. And so I want to be able to provide my service to the people in this capacity. And then in God's time, we'll make that decision.
There was a winemaker once, Paul Masson, that says, sort of, drink no wine before it's time.
That's right. I like that.
But yeah, no, absolutely. So when the time comes, hopefully that you'll come on the stage as well in this show and make that announcement.
I would love to do that here, yes.
Best of luck to you with that. And as touted, folks are definitely, from what I hear, you're being courted by a lot of different of course, candidates to be running mate. And yeah, geez, that's fantastic. Now, let me ask this as well. Should you decide, or even if you don't decide, your thoughts on, I don't know if the bill, I think the bill was given back to the author at this point, but your thoughts on a primary versus not.
I support Senator San Augustine's effort to limit the primary. I know it's been talked about for a long time.
Well, elimination again as the government entity, right?
Absolutely. I think the parties, if the parties would have their own process, whether they have a primary election or they have a caucus or a convention, that's up to the party to do. But I think now you see a lot of desire from the community, and where we need to really tighten our belts and really having a primary. A lot of times we eliminate one candidate, one or two candidates, where it's not a real good use of our finances. So I support Senator San Augustine's effort on this.
Hey,
absolutely.
I've gone through a primary when we didn't have to eliminate anybody, okay, but we had to get a certain percentage of votes.
That's right.
So we weren't immune to the primary, because where people saying, hey, but we don't need to vote for you because the Democrats, we need to eliminate 2 or 3, but can you still vote for us, because if we don't get a certain percentage, we won't be able to move on. Right. So again, as someone who's been in the receiving end of that as well, and as the government needs to tighten its belt, but also for candidates as well. Right. I mean, it's really, you have to pay for especially the newer ones. Of course the primary and then the general election. But
I think this would encourage more of our people to seek office, which is good.
I think so. But there's also a proposal on part-time. Just real quick thoughts on that.
I'm very open to that possibility. I mean, I'm listening to what our people are wanting. The work, I can tell you, Senator, and you know that, it's not part-time at all. It's not part-time. Some senators, maybe it's part-time for them. But for my office, for the way I've done, I know even with you when you were a senator, it's not part-time. But if that's what the people want, I'm open to that discussion.
Well, if you guys go to part-time, I may consider it.
Yes, absolutely. See, then we should do it then. We should do it.